everyone, it's Ian the Off-Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. Today I'm going to be making a card that was heavily inspired by a card that Kristina Werner did recently on her channel. I'm not doing the bee theme, I am doing a space theme because I have the stamps for space and I have an idea in my head that I hope will work out. So we're going to use space theme instead of the bee theme. And the first thing that I'm going to get started with is I'm going to be using a piece of Neenah Solar White 110 pound cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that's going to be the same size as the rest of my card. I think Kristina's was actually a little bit larger than that, but I can't remember for sure. But I'm going to create a galaxy theme across it. So the first thing that I have to do is add some color into the background. So you kind of layer this on top of itself so that way it looks like a galaxy. It'll make sense as we get started. You've seen this on my channel before if you've been here for a while. You've seen me do a galaxy background before. We're going to do the same technique right now. I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon, Fossilized Amber, Seedless Preserves, and Abandoned Coral Distress inks for today's blending. And the best part about it is you don't have to be very clean with it. It can be very, very messy and just kind of all over the place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my ink blending tools. I think I have one. These are all empty for the most part. I try not to mix my distress inks and my distress oxides because that has kind of a negative effect. You really don't want to do that. You don't want to contaminate between colors like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and prime this ink blender and get it ready to go. So I'll kind of speed this part up and we'll see what kind of galaxy background I end up with. Okay, now that I've gotten everything covered in that black soot, you can kind of still see the colors in the background, but I really want everything to kind of blend together a little bit, so I'm gonna just give it a quick little spray and mist to kind of moisten that paper and move that color around, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm actually gonna spray my hand with a little bit of water, and then, ooh, that was maybe a little too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in there and just give us some nice like splatters. And that's really going to help everything move and create some different texture in it. I can already see, maybe hard to see on camera, but I can already see up close the pattern that's being made in the inks and everything. It's looking really, really cool, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all said and done. I'm going to try and remove maybe a little bit of that moisture, just enough that I can, yeah, so there we go. It's pulling up a little bit. I'm going to set this off to the side and let it dry completely while I clean up my mat and start moving on to the next part. Okay, I have my Tim Holtz stamp platform out, and I have my Lawn Fawn Out of This World and Lawn Fawn Beam Me Up stamp set. I'm going to be using the astronaut, maybe the planets too. Yeah, I probably will use the planets as well. I'm going to stamp those out, and I am just gonna color them in using some simple Copic coloring. Whenever I do that, I'm gonna use my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, since that is a Copic friendly ink, and I'm just gonna spread these out over the front of the page here and just get them ready to color up. Okay, now that I have colored in all my shapes, I'm gonna go ahead and die cut them using my Cuttlebug. I'm also going to use some black paper and die cut another set of these exact same images, just using the die cut. I'm not gonna stamp them, I'm just die cutting out the silhouettes of them, and you'll see why here in a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quickly, and we'll come back after I get them die cut. So I should have done this at the start, and I totally forgot. I don't know why I forgot, but literally there are no stars in the sky of my panel here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little gesso, and I'm just gonna put it right on top of my acrylic block here. And then I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of water, just to get it so that it's a little more liquidy. And then I'm gonna flick it onto my card panel here, so that way it will turn into what looks like stars, hopefully. Okay, here is my panel. It's a little warped, but nothing a little extreme adhesive wouldn't take care of. You'll also notice that the stars kind of picked up the color that they're over. So like there's this kind of purpley and red and a little bit of yellow and some blue, but that's okay. Like stars in space, they are not just white. They come in a rainbow of colors. I mean, maybe not green, but you get the idea here. It doesn't just have to be a white star. So it picked up the distress ink underneath it, which is fine. It still looks great. So we're gonna keep moving on with this and move forward with it. Let's go ahead and start. I think we're gonna go ahead and start assembling the card now. Since it's warped, it's not really easy to stamp on, and I kind of wanna see how my card is coming together so that way I know where I can place the stamps. So let's go ahead and get the rest of the parts for this card. Now for this card, Kristina used some acetate card that's already assembled. I'm gonna be using some Cricut foil acetate. I have this on hand and I really need to use it up, and I figured this would be a great time to use this paper up. So what I'm gonna do is, I've already cut it to 5.5 long, this way, because that's the same size as our card here, so just like this. And now I'm gonna score it just a little, let's see, if I need to, because normally we would score it at 4 1/4, right, to make it fold in half. But I need to score it a little higher because remember we have a tri-fold card here. So this will need to fold over everything else, and it's already got a lot going on. Like there's a lot of pieces going into one area. You'll see it'll make a lot more sense. Kristina was smart and she didn't score it right at 4 1/4. She did a little lower, and that actually made a lot of sense. Now, if you use Cricut acetate, remember that there is this like clear film on there that you need to remove. You want to get rid of this. This is just to protect it during shipping and manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to remove that and get rid of that. And now I'm going to score it. Remember, we do it normally at 4 1/4, but I think I'm gonna score it just on the other side of, in between 4 and 4 1/4, basically. So I'm gonna score it right there and hope that it stays in place. So now it folds, and I can even more get that crease going there. So now it's a little short on the top here, but we can cut that off here in just a minute. Next up, I have a piece of Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. This time we are going to score it at 4 1/4, so that way it will be a, oops, am I doing this right? I can't see at the moment. Doesn't feel like it's, yeah, I guess that's in the groove. Anyways, so we're scoring it at 4 1/4, just like that. And then butt it up in the corner here, so that way hopefully all the sides are equal. Doesn't always work out that way, but tries to like straighten it up. All right, so basically what's gonna happen is this is going to get adhered on the front, and then this is gonna get adhered on the back, like so. So let's go ahead, and I think I'm done with my scoreboard, so let's get rid of that and start putting all these pieces together. Okay, I have my Tombow Extreme adhesive, and basically what I'm just gonna do is put it onto the back of the card here. Cards over here, and just try to align them as best as I can. You know me, I can never get things exactly aligned 100%, but we're gonna try and get as close as possible. It may not be perfect, but it's at least close. So now this will close like this, and this will close like that, and there is a little bit of overhang. Maybe should have cut this a little longer. Oh well, it happens, right? So, okay, we got that all taken care of. Now let's go ahead and take care of the back. I got this black paper that has like white speckles in it. That's perfect for this, I feel like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere this onto the back of the card. So I'm gonna flip the back side over. It may not show up great on the camera, but you can definitely see like all the tape on the back side there. So I'm just gonna line this up as nicely as possible. Oh, don't stick just yet. All right, close enough. It's close enough, right? It doesn't really matter. Ooh, wow, that was a little off. I'll have to trim that off, not a big deal. For the front side, I'm gonna go ahead and adhere this panel onto the front, and then my little stars or shimmery bits there will show up on the front. So let's go ahead and adhere this down. All right, let's go ahead and adhere this, and hopefully I'll get it somewhat straight on here. Yeah, it's not too bad. And then our layer goes down like that. And I'm just gonna take a pair of scissors and just trim off this black piece back here, so that way it looks a little cleaner. There we go. Get rid of that. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and start assembling the full card. This looks really cool. I like how this little like acetate sheet, I almost said acrylic sheet, this acetate sheet really kind of adds another layer to it. I think it's really neat. So it's time to go ahead and start putting our little people and doodads and planets and all sorts of different things on here. But with this, I want to do it in layers. So I want it to be kind of layered on, basically. And then I have the silhouettes, so that way I can add them. Like if I put the little space guy here, when you open up the card, I don't really want you to see the glue and the everything behind it, and so I'm gonna hide it with the silhouette like this. So I think it'll make more sense as I get going, but I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing these guys on. Okay, I kind of lied a little bit. I said I was going to glue everything down first, but I really want to get the sentiment on first, so that way I don't overwhelm everything else. And I kind of laid it out so that way my little space dude is down here in the bottom left corner, the sun up in the top right. And I was going to use a rocket ship. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment in it. And I really want to use this "You Are Out of This World." I think that's a great one to use for this. I don't really want it to be a birthday. I kind of want it to be more generic. So I'm gonna move all the things out of the way so that way I can do some stamping. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp "You Are Out of This World" up here in the top corner. I'm gonna use my anti-static powder tool to really make sure this area is ready for that embossing powder. I don't want it to get stuck to any area that I don't want it to, so I'm gonna make sure that it is really, really ready. And hopefully nothing will get stuck. Cross your fingers. I always forget to do the anti-static powder tool, so kind of proud of myself for remembering today. That's the biggest thing. I'm gonna use Versamark ink and just get this sentiment all stamped out, and then use some white embossing powder from Ranger. And this is super fine detail, not just regular embossing powder. Let's hope it works. Okay, it looks like the embossing powder worked well. Let's go ahead and heat it up and get it all nice and melty. All right, I have all of my elements together here. It's hard to see with the acetate there, but you are out of this world. Probably should have put an exclamation point on it, but it's fine. Anyways, so like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my little shapes now. I'm gonna use the Tombow strong adhesive on the front, this acetate piece, because I'm not exactly sure like how well it would stick using just regular adhesive. If I had a liquid adhesive, it definitely would do okay. But I don't have any of that right now, which is unfortunate, but I'm just gonna add a little bit of this adhesive to it and it should help it stick. For the inside of the acetate piece, I'm just switching over to my dot liner. I would say the name of it, but I don't remember how to pronounce that. So anyways, I'm just gonna use my dot liner for the inside since it's nothing special. I don't have to worry about it coming up or anything like that. So I think I'm just gonna stick them on wherever they feel like they go. Okay, so now for the other side of the acetate, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the inverse or the opposite, however you wanna call it. Sometimes this string just goes everywhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my best to line this up so that way it blocks out all the tape and you don't see the back side. See, look how nice that looks. Like that, I like that a lot. It kind of cleans it up a little bit. Now remember, for like the astronaut dude, this is how the die cut was cut out, but we just want to inverse it and put it over just like that. Okay, now that the card is closed, it all kind of layers on top of it, and I like how this looks a lot. I like that the acetate, on the back side of the acetate, the back side of those cutouts are hidden, and we're gonna throw in a surprise. Since he didn't really fit on the outside of the card, let's go ahead and stick him on the inside and just give him a little surprise whenever they get it, right? Just stick them down there just like that. Wondering if I should also put in another, no, I don't like that. I'm just gonna leave that planet out and we'll just have our card like this. All right guys, we are done with today's card. It took a lot longer than I expected, and normally I don't like creating long cards. Usually I wanna get a card done in about an hour. But for some reason on this one, it really spoke to me, and I'm so thankful I saw Kristina Werner's video because I really like how this card ended up coming out with our little hidden surprise, and I can't wait to get this one in the mail.